we have to create the right vibe, the energy, and everybody at the
Recording in
organization
progress.
has to feel so privileged to be here.
Okay,
It's
15
no other
seconds,
way.
yes, boys.
Thanks for listening to the Purely Arsenal podcast. Please follow us on Twitter at Purely Arsenal FP for all the latest Arsenal podcasts.
Welcome to another Purely Arsenal podcast, and it's on the back of a 2-0 win, another clean sheet. And to help me talk about that game, we have LL Cool James, Mr. James Johnstone. How are you, sir?
Yeah, good to be back. Happy to be here. Wasn't here last week, but you guys held the fort. It was a great show. So hopefully I can continue your great run, just like Arsenal now are on their new great run. So we'll see.
Absolutely. Yeah, we missed you on the last one, but I think Michael Harris, who's our other panelist today, was the star of that show. He did very, very well, and we're welcoming back. Thanks for coming back on, Michael.
Yeah, nice to be back, Neil, and good to talk to you, James. I've done all the milk tray deliveries for the night, so I'm all yours for 45 minutes, guys.
Oh, well, I'm great. Oh, we're honoured. We're honoured.
I'm waiting for more comic book references as well. I enjoyed the Batman reference. It was great. It was a good show. It really was.
I tell you, he's a man of many talents. This man really is, truly. Anyway, let's crack on. We're going to try and do this in a 45-minute turnaround, aren't we, lads, today? So we want to just get on it and see how we go, and I hope you all enjoy it. Just want to say thank you, as always, to everyone who contributes and helps support the podcast. Honestly, we really appreciate it. And if you can bear the thought of watching us, please do check us out on YouTube. And if you don't want to watch those faces while you eat your dinner, then you can always listen to us on the other platforms and just have the audio in the background. But thank you, as always. Right, so a 2-0 win, and this was off the back of a 4-0 battering, which obviously we talked about only a few days ago. I thought, what a way to come back, mentally strong. Just want to touch on the lineup very, very quickly. We all thought there may be a couple of changes, but actually there was only one. Michael, let's go to you. What did you think about the lineup and him sticking to the two lads who got a bit of criticism in the Liverpool game?
When we spoke last time, I think I said maybe Tavares would come out, and I'm not sure, maybe one of Lacazette or Aubameyang maybe, but I think I definitely was on the assumption that maybe this would be the time to maybe phase Tierney back into the team with the United game coming up, obviously. But no, I was happy, that Tavares was still in there, and obviously what followed from him, his performance, and Lokonga as well. I was thinking some of the stats that came out about his key passes in the first half, and some of the balls he won. He did one pass to Saka early on, amazing pass, and his kid, obviously with his age, he's going to get better and better. But no, so I thought there would have been a couple more changes, but I think with the result and the way Tavares played in the second half, I mean, Jesus, it was unbelievable. Just non-stop, like literally Terminator, him on one side and Tomiyasu on the other. But yeah, surprised, but I'm happy, obviously, that the key thing for me is Kieran Tierney's got a proper battle on his hands to get back into the side. He's got to come back in, try to hit the level which he met when he first came inside. So it's all good. It all bodes well. For personally going forward.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree with all of that. And I just want to quickly add that it's a testament to both Lokonga and Tavares that they were mentally strong enough to, and also I think they repaid the trust that Arteta had in them to, come back from what was quite a heavily criticised performances, respectively in the Liverpool game. And I think it just shows the strength of character. That's what's changed for me in this new setup we have under Arteta's guidance. The belief, the self-belief that the players have, I think it's showing. It's really starting to show, and it's a wonderful thing to see. So, James, let's go to you and just thoughts. I know it was probably a bit of a pedestrian, tame first half, a bit of a lack of creativity, speed, tempo, etc. How did you see? Is there anything you want to, sort of discuss in the first half? How did you see the game in the first half?
Yeah, I mean, I echo what you said as well. Just as it was brave for the manager to stick with those players really performed. I agree with that. And like Michael said as well, I think Lokonga, he was robbed of an assist. I mean, for me, Saka needs to bring. He had time to bring that down. He should have buried that. For me, it was just as much as a sitter as Aubameyang's was in my mind, anyway, because he had the time. No, the problem that we have really, especially with this low block, and I mean, Odegaard was in there to try and help that, and he had a good chance with that free kick that was, well struck and well saved. But for me, we're trying to play possession football in the style of Manchester City. That's ideally what this manager wants. And I don't think we haven't got the players to do it. It's just we're not there yet to do it. And we're better as a counter-attacking side, because all the time where we sort of upped the tempo and got a bit into the game was reacting to stuff that Newcastle did when they nearly scored, and we were like, bloody hell, we can't throw this game away. And then they went and showed a bit of pace and showed a bit of guile. So that's the problem I have is that how the manager sees it probably isn't the best for this group that he's got at the moment. Like you said, Neil, they're all quite young. So when you're young, you're more receptive. So hopefully the more and more it goes in, the more we're going to get the results out of it. But for me as well, we've all said it before, when Granit Xhaka's in that team, it all seems to go sideways, and then it all goes through Granit Xhaka like an American football quarterback. It just seems like he's the one who goes, right, launch. At the moment, it all seems to go round the houses, back to Ben White, and then Ben White will either come forward and he'll try to do what Xhaka does. And if teams are watching, like they're supposedly meant to be watching, you need to note that down, because I'm telling you now, more and more teams are going to be pressing Ben White's first touch now, seeing the way that we're playing. Trust me, on Thursday when we play Man United, Sancho, whoever will be, maybe not Ronaldo because Ronaldo doesn't press, but they'll be clipping on Ben White's heels as soon as he gets the ball, because we've seen to start that game, he was a bit shaky against, I can't remember if it was St. Maximin or whoever. And then he managed to get himself out of it. And he was like, right, I'm not doing that again. And he was brilliant. But it was like the first 30 to 40 seconds, he got into one with him. And it was a bit like, whoa. But yeah, he settled back down, and he had a really good game. And I thought Gabriel had a good game as well, because with Wilson, he was going to Gabriel, if you want to have a football game and we'll try and outrun each other, I'll do you there. He never. And then he was like, right, if you want to fight me and we'll have a bit of a rough and tumble wrestle and all that with each other, I'll do you there. And Gabriel went, no. And we've spoken, and I know the Invincibles is in a lot of people's minds at the moment with the film and everything else that's out. And I like that we've got a player in Gabriel that reminds me of those Invincibles and that 2001 and that 98 team. I'm trying not to get overly carried away, but at least we've got players now, especially one in Gabriel, that's like, if you want to play football, I'll out-football you. And if you want to try all that, dirty stuff, I'll have you on that front as well. And I really like, you've said, showing a new sort of Arsenal. That's what I like, because it's familiar, but it's new with these players that we have.
Yeah, no, good points taken aboard. And I think just touching on what you said, you've mentioned the defence. I mean, okay, a lot of people may have felt that the first half was a bit dry, it was boring to watch, etc. But we still managed to hold them at bay. I mean, they had some chances. The new god, Ramsdale, again, does what he does. I mean, on the player ratings, he's top. So in theory, he's like man of the match again. I mean, it's just ridiculous for a goalkeeper to be performing this consistently game in, game out. It just bodes well. I don't know if you guys know, and I didn't know this fact, but we've won now the wins that we've had. So we've had 7 consecutive wins without conceding a goal. It's the first time in our history that we've done that. So, Arteta doing this program of building from the back, it is actually, action speaks louder than words sometimes. And he's actually showing that and proving that in black and white.
That save that he made from Shelvey as well.
Yes.
I don't think because of how well that one was against Maddison the other day, I don't think it's being talked up as much because
it's great, right?
Partey is blocking his view. So he's seen that late. So to do that again with less time, oh my word. What? I'm so wrong. Humble pie for James.
Guys, honestly, I don't think he's off this world. It's just, his flexibility and everything about him is just, he's a big lad and he can move. He's fast. Well, future captain as far as I'm concerned, but I will hold that thought. And let's move on. Michael, have you got anything to add about the first half? Is any maybe the Aubameyang miss? Have you got anything to say? Are you concerned about Aubameyang's form? What's your feelings on it?
A bit concerned. I mean, his return. What was it? He's got 4 goals in 12, something like that. You've got to rate his performance, what he did against Villa, and the way he's playing against Palace, and that's the standard, and he hasn't really hit that since those games. So that's the only worry for me. And the fact that he's missed 2 penalties. So it's not looking good really in terms of him. I think Arteta's trying to get him and like I said, you get 2 players to do a particular job, which one player maybe could do. But that obviously you need to address that in the transfer market. But no, both good points from yourselves in terms of that. But no, I don't want to talk about that miss.
Okay.
on his heels, and I mean, I don't like to toot my own horn, but I used to play for a team called Hale End, and I basically did what Henry did before Henry did it, and did doing a double and and all that stuff, and being top goal scorer, and I mean, as look it up on Google, type in Michael Harris Hale End Athletic, and you'll see. But anyway, being on your heels in a penalty area. If you're a top striker, you've got to be on your toes. You've got to be ready for anything. And he was just like, So it's a bit of a worry. It's a bit of a worry in terms of his mindset, his sharpness, because that's what he was all about. His sharpness in that box, and it seems to have gone. So, but that was the only worry really.
Yeah, no, I agree. It is a concern, and there's always going to be a debate, especially with my man doing what he did in the second half. There's going to be a debate as to whether, especially with the run of games we've got 8 games now starting from Thursday in December. I think the timing is right for that man to be playing a little bit more. So there's this debate: is Aubameyang going to make way for him? We don't know. Let's see what happens. But let's move on to the second half. I mean, there were some other incidences, but I want to get into more of the meatier part of the game. James, we came out almost like a different team. It was almost like a game of 2 halves. I felt that we increased the tempo. We went up a couple of gears, and that was more than enough to topple Newcastle. And it showed in the end. So what did you see that changed? What were you impressed with going into the second half? And just have a little chat about that, if you like.
Yeah, I just think it was just there was more willing. Like you said, I think they realised, we got to do a bit more here to break this team down. And for me, even though Saka had a poor first half, he was still arguably the biggest attacking threat because Smith Rowe didn't really get into it. And Aubameyang, Michael's just summed it up. He just didn't seem ready. It was too casual. Like, he's at a stage where he already thinks he scored in his head before he has. But I'm like, with the season you had last year and the season you're having now, you need to tuck that. You can't think that you've done it. You need to do it.
It's very lackadaisical, wasn't it? From the I just thought. Yeah,
like, if that's him 2 years ago, or even in that cup run, we're all seeing the forward flip. I'm trying to do it in my house, and I'll probably end up, in A&E. But I'd lay some cushions down. I'll try it that way. Do it onto cushions. I wouldn't do it onto hard flooring.
I'm imagining it now, James.
Well, it can happen. Google it. James Johnstone forward flip. No, joking.
Touche.
Yeah, no. In my dreams, I think I've done a backflip once when I slipped over in ice. But that wasn't, that probably get a 5 on the old technical. But yeah, I'm starting to worry about the man and me and Jack continually, people don't have access to our WhatsApp group for good reason. But we keep having this nice debate with one another, and he's like, well, Mikel has dropped a big player before, and I'm like, he won't drop this one, Jack. It's got to be so catastrophic for me, and that was a catastrophic bit. But I'm like, I think come obviously Boxing Day when they have to leave to go to Cup of Nations, I believe, then we'll start to see it. But when he comes back, because I don't think, maybe I'm wrong, I don't know enough about Gabon to know if they'll reach the latter stage, and he's hardly scoring all the time to make him prolific to go quite far. So he might be back earlier. But yeah, I can't see him being dropped for the foreseeable till at least Christmas. I just think that the money we laid out on him and everything else is just too much to cast him aside. Sadly, I mean, for me, you're in on merit. I don't care what your name,
Absolutely.
I've seen it before where we've had arguably bigger players than what I believe Aubameyang was, and they were benched. So yeah.
I agree. I think it's time to maybe experiment and try something slightly different. I don't think it can do any harm. But the problem, for me, we do need to continue in the same vein from the Newcastle victory, and I think we need to put another little mini run together. I think I can see that fourth spot now, and we should
not be losing a game until New Year's Day against Man City.
I agree,
and even that, we should be going at that, going right. Have we really turned a corner? Then let's see it. Yeah. All these other games are winnable in my head.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's doable. We did a 10-match run. Exactly. I think it's doable. Yeah. Why not? Let's put another 9-match run together.
And that last one, there were harder teams in that than I think there are in this, and that's including West Ham and all that. Because West Ham, no matter how good they are, we always seem to fluke a win against them. They're flying, and we always seem to win. So I'm not worried about that. Yeah. No, me neither. Nothing really concerns me over the next few games, and I think it might be a good month for us. So let's wait and see, and hopefully we can start New Year 2022 in a good way, with a good backing behind us. That'll be start as we mean to go and win the league. Who knows? To get back on your original question, because I tailgated. Sorry, I always do this. We showed more willing, and then Saka as well. He was like, right, I'm getting no joy on the right hand side. I'm going to move to the left where Smith Rowe is. And the minute he did, he linked up with Tavares, who, like we mentioned earlier, brilliant, nice little assist. And I would be going to Aubameyang. Watch that finish, because that's what you need to be doing. I think Saka should be going to him. That's how you finish.
I agree. I think talking about the goal, the first goal, I think Tavares, the difference is he was still as enterprising as he was in the first half, making the runs, being strong, powerful. But I think he just showed a bit more composure and almost cuteness. That was a slight tweak in the second half. And I think that goal, the three of them, Smith Rowe, Saka and Tavares, interchanging triangles, happening before your eyes, just the way they were moving and drawing out the defenders and getting them out of position for that brilliant assist from Tavares to Saka to finish that goal, I think was brilliant. And I saw someone tweet, it was almost Wenger-esque. It kind of was. But I want to kind of move away from that. End of the day, we want to now embrace Arteta, and hopefully he's doing the right thing. And let's hope it leads to success as far as he's concerned. But I just thought it was a very, very sweet goal. Just before we move on, I just wanted to get both of your opinion on the two potential on both sides. So there was a Newcastle claimed there was a penalty before leading up to the second goal. And then there was another incident later on, I think, on Matt Martinelli. I just wanted and I think, James, you actually touched on before we started recording another incident as well. Just wanted to get your opinions on that. Michael, have you got any thoughts on those potential penalty decisions which weren't given?
I think the Wilson Tavares one was a penalty. Wilson's got form. He's done that before. He's gone over easy when he's come down with Bournemouth. I remember one game where he went down so softly, and he tends to do that a lot. He buys a lot of penalties. I think that was just Tavares just using strength. The bouncer. Jamal Lascelles, who he's just about to Newcastle, and I'm sure he does that when when he's not playing. He's getting suspended now, so I reckon if he goes to a club in Newcastle, he's probably out there with his SIA badge on his arm and he's standing there like that with his muscles out and everything. He's an absolute clown. He's an absolute meathead. That was a penalty. He nearly took Martinelli's head off. And if you watch the replay, he flares his elbow out as well, just for measure, just to say, look, then he tells him to get up, which I find annoying now when players purposely take someone out and they know they've done it. They just go, get up like that. There was one in the first half. I think James touched it before. Odegaard, he sort of impeded someone at a corner, I think it was, and that was more a penalty. We've seen those given. That was more a penalty than their other one with Wilson. But how the one on Martinelli wasn't given, it was like it was 2-0. The game was gone. There's only it's almost like they just said, just forget it. They don't need to score that. There's no point. To me, that's what it looked like, because I don't know how VAR can look at that and say that wasn't a penalty. It's just ridiculous. But definitely I would say one penalty to them and one penalty to us, but obviously not the ones that they're really focused on with the Wilson one.
That's fine. I suppose. Yeah, go on. Sorry, James. Go on.
Can I just say as well, I don't like lumping on the referees, because it makes you sound like you don't believe the team is good enough to get a result without the referee's influence. However, I have seen since Watford, when Danny Rose clotheslined Lacazette, I've seen Johnny Evans pull down Aubameyang. I've seen Mane rake bloody Tomiyasu. And in this game, a bloke's elbowed Martinelli. He's elbowed him in the face. Well, cheek, whatever you want. So I'm like, consistently, there are these, and I'm not trying to spread, a David Icke conspiracy against Arsenal type of agenda.
But there is something, right?
Well, yeah, I'm like, you've brought this in so that it can deem what is clear and obvious. So for me, I'm like, you're not doing all the rule. For the one against Watford, you've told me anything above shoulder is automatically red card and a foul anywhere on the pitch. If you go like that now, it's red and you're up. So that for me, I don't understand. Johnny Evans is the last man. I don't even think he got booked for it, did he? I can't remember.
I don't think so.
Mane gets away with everything, so I'm going to let that one slide. But this one, I don't care if it's, we've had the game end. All of a sudden, it's gone to VAR and they've gone back to give something. So I don't care if that's the first minute or the 97th or whatever.
Agreed.
You've elbowed me in the face.
Well, he could have broken his bone, a jawbone.
Yeah. I mean, okay, Martinelli, he's a Brazilian. They do go down a bit theatrically. But no, he has clocked it. No, he's smashed him in the face. Yeah, he has. And for
I
me,
think that would have hurt anyone. Yeah. That would have even hurt Michael, I'm sure.
Yeah. I'm like, that's a straight red card and a penalty. It's not only a penalty, it's a straight red. So I just don't understand. I don't understand what it is with Arsenal that, I don't know, maybe we've got this whole thing that we're a soft touch club and that we do. I think it's the reputation goes above the decisions, because if that's Granit Xhaka doing that to one of their players,
it's a red.
He's in Broadmoor before. Yeah, he's in Broadmoor already. They're locking him up, throwing away the key. He's gone.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, it's a very dangerous topic to go, and I know there are those out there on Twitter and other platforms who will shout and swear it's a conspiracy. I mean, I've even said, look, I think before my stance was you make your luck, and sometimes you'll get your share of good, but you'll get your share of bad, and it's just life. That's just the way life is. Yeah. But recently, it just seems to be that we get the bad end of pretty much, I'd say 95% of decisions constantly. It just constantly seems to be that way. And especially when they're blatant, it's a blatant thing. With VAR looking at it, there is only one way it can go, and it just seems to go the other way. And you just think, hang on a minute, it doesn't make sense. And for me, that is a little bit of a concern. But I'm glad you touched on the soft touch part of the club, because I think we've turned a corner with that. If you look at the players that we now have got, we're almost starting to go back to that era, the era that you mentioned, when Wenger first came. He had that mixture of flair from overseas, and you had those hard-grown, proper, I'd say, Englishmen playing in the team, really strong characters. And I think we're almost getting back to that, where we are now not going to be what Troy Deeney used to call us. And who's that Man United player that always used to say it's men against boys? We're just a bunch of boys. Evra. Evra, that's it. Yeah. And I think we've turned the corner. And I think now that teams are going to start to realise that we are going to fight. And that's on a physical basis.
What I'd like us to be doing, Neil, is again, I think you mentioned it I think it was you, Michael, that mentioned it in the last pod with Mane. Lacazette was putting his arm around him afterwards and was like, come on, mate. And I don't care, like I said, I don't care if it's the first minute or the 97th or what have you. I think we need to be, do you remember back in the day with Chelsea, like I'm talking 04, that sort of first run Mourinho Chelsea, whenever something happened, you had a line, you had Terry, Lampard, and they all sort of they used to crowd and they would influence it's a bit of dark arts, a bit of shithousery per se. I think we need to start doing that. I think someone needs to be going to them. Go look at that monitor. You know,
to be honest, you're right, James. I think, to be honest, I think that recently, though, I think when those tackles and things like that have gone in, players have jumped on it. You know, people have gone and talked it, especially in the Liverpool game, especially with Mane when he did the one on Ben White. You know, Gabriel wasn't having any of it, and he was chipping away at Mane for the rest of the game. And it's, you know, touching on what you said about Gabriel. I don't know if we all remember when he first came, and we had that run of games where he looked immense. He was a bit like Ramsdale. He's winning man of the match 3 or 4 games in a row. And then we played against Southampton, I think it was. He played up against Che Adams, and Che Adams gave him an absolute nightmare. He was all over the place. Obviously, that's when Walcott scored and celebrated. But Che Adams was bashing into him, and Gabriel didn't seem to like it. Didn't seem to like the physical aspects of it. Rolling it on a year now. Look at him now. Like as you said, he's more physical. He wasn't having it with Ollie Watkins when we played Villa. He wasn't having it against Mane. He wasn't having it with Wilson. So he's got that development, the physical. You know, he's more confident in himself. Yeah. And he's got more of that stuff. Well, no, you're not. I'm not having it with you today. You know, you're not having it with any of my teammates, and I'm going to back him and stuff like that. So he's got the ingredients of that 04, you know, 01, 04 side where, you know, we're going to war, and if someone's gonna have it, and you see it whenever something happens, he's the first one there chipping away at the player and chipping away at the referee to say, you know, no, look, you know, he's got to be booked, you know, or he's doing 1, 2, 3 like that. You know, how many times you're gonna? So yeah, we need to have that, and yeah, everybody else does it. You know, you know, we did it in 04. We did it at Old Trafford when you know, gave 50. You know, and obviously if we didn't know the referee was bought, then you know it was wasting our time, weren't we? You know, doing that. Vieira was doing that, but yeah, we need to get back on that. We need to get back on that. You know, you know, get in the referee's faces and do what everybody else does.
I think you said it well in the last pod, Michael, where you mentioned that because the players didn't seem to be doing much of it, Arteta kind of took the weight of it on his shoulders, and he reacted the way he did. And maybe him doing that has instilled something into the players going forward. Hopefully, we don't know, and maybe that might have some influence as well. But I think you're right. I think we need to see a lot more of that, because it's just that intensity and drive when you're on the pitch, James, as you were saying. You know, it doesn't matter what second of the game it is. You're at war. You are at war. You don't care if you've got friends on the opposition and you're like play FIFA with them after work or whatever. It doesn't matter. Yeah. End of the day, you're at war. They're not your friends on the pitch, and that's the mentality that every single player, every single substitute needs to have when we're playing.
I mean,
that is what will drive success.
I don't remember who said the quote originally, but I know that I've heard Roy Keane utter it since, and it's respect is an advantage that your opponent isn't entitled to. And I agree. After the game, do all that stuff. But that's for brilliant. That, for that 90 minutes, like you said, it's war. It's game time. You know,
exactly. So anyway, I wanted to before just touching on that superb second goal, just wanted to ask you about both of you. Either you can both go for this one. Tomiyasu. Tell me what your thoughts are on this player. James, you go first, and then let Michael have a go.
He was my man of the match. I know everybody seemed to have a different man of the match, which I love, because that just goes to show how well all of them are doing. You know, you go onto Twitter and there's like people have got 7 different man of the matches, that's great. That's brilliant. But yeah, for me, Tomiyasu was just absolutely class. I mean, I don't want to jump the gun on the goal, so I won't. But even in the first half, he done a recovery where he was like facing the wrong way, and he sort of swung his leg and got the ball, made that interception, and then progressed the play. And that was really important at the time, because they were in a really good position to attack. So he's doing stuff that slightly going under the radar. And, I've said it before, I compared him to the right side Monreal, because Monreal towards the end, you knew that you would get an 8 out of 10 out of that guy. And that's the same with Tomiyasu. I know that, okay, he was a bit shaky at Brighton and some people thought he was shaky against Liverpool, but every other game I've seen him, he's a 7 or 8 out of 10. And I love him. I absolutely love him.
And Michael, any thoughts add to that?
Yeah. Just we've got a proper defender. Someone who defends first and asks questions later. Someone like Lorraine, we've had in the past, Sagna, who just want to defend and they take pride in that. So yeah, he's had a brilliant start. Just hope he just carries on at the level he's at the moment. He's been amazing.
That's all we can ask, isn't it? I just feel like he's going to become one of our unsung heroes. I mean, there's not going to be too much of a spotlight on him, but he's just going to be there and do the job. And it's almost as if by not talking about him, we've said this about other players in the past, by not talking about them, they're doing a good job. And it's just letting the game carry on. And we know that side is covered because that they're doing what they're supposed to do. So I think it's a great testament and I absolutely love the guy. And then speaking of him and speaking of my man, the second goal, oh man. I mean, I'm going to let you guys just drool over it, but I just want to say, I feel that this lad needs to play. I've been saying it for God knows. My jaw is aching from saying how many times I've said that he needs to play. I think he's come on. He's finally proven that. He's given the manager some food for thought. I just believe that, he seems to be better as a person who can run onto balls and collect and do the finishing product rather than create. And I don't know whether that means he would be better playing centrally. I've always said I'd prefer to see him, in the middle, but with Aubameyang there, that's the problem, and we don't know how that would work. So that's my thoughts on it. I just think he's a magnificent player. He's got bags and bags of potential. I think anyone who knows me knows what I think of him. But I want you two to talk about the goal. Michael, you go first, and then James, you can chime in.
Just a brilliant pass, obviously from Tomiyasu. The ability to just put it on the plate. And I think we mentioned the last game, I think it might be myself, when we just talked about Liverpool's goal, I think fourth goal, which I can't remember his name. And all I was saying about we needed runners. We need people, runners into space so we could find it and they can run onto it and then straight away they're in on goal rather than this donut or half shot, sad donut football or dot to dot football, we were saying. So it's just the fact that he there's a winning runner, he was calling for it, he saw the space, he was calling for it, and the pass from Tomiyasu right on the money, and the finish, well, what can you say? And it's just, again, brilliant, as you said, Neil, because he's given food for thought. We know what's coming in a few weeks with Aubameyang going to be jetting off. So he's got the option there to put him there in that position, maybe up top or fit him in somehow. But no, brilliant. Made up for the kid. And hopefully he gets more minutes on Thursday.
James, please.
Yeah. The other week I said about Trent Alexander-Arnold's assist for their goal for Mane, and that it was a postage stamp type of pass. Again, the weight of pass from Tomiyasu is class, and we're moaning about a lack of service. And then I think, again, you guys mentioned it last week as well. There isn't a player in our squad that can, like Sanchez, can pull a game from the clutches and show. Aubameyang used to do it, but he's not that guy now. Well, we've brought a guy on here, and again, it shows me that the manager is learning, because normally on the right-hand side, that's Pepe that comes on first. So I think now he's looking at it and going, maybe you're surplus. And that, I still like Pepe, but if he's surplus because Gabriel Martinelli's coming through, tough titty, Sorry, and I love Pepe, but
I know you do.
Martinelli's, that guy's ceiling for me. We haven't even touched the sides of what this guy's ceiling could be.
Absolutely.
And I said to my dad that the finish reminded me of Robin van Persie. He put me on the naughty step. He bollocked me for that. He said, don't compare him to someone new. He's the first Gabriel Martinelli. He went, he's his own player in his own right. He went, certainly don't compare him to that trash that used to play for us and everything else. He got very angry. So, so I took my bollocking and was like, oh, fair enough. Yeah. Okay. So, no, well done to Gabriel Martinelli. And we've all been screaming for it. We got it. And he proved. And do you know what else I liked? Is that when he celebrated, Lacazette fully embraced him. And we said about how Lacazette's the leader for these
massive
young
influence.
players.
Yeah.
That's it. That is it.
It's great, isn't it? It's just so nice to see. I mean, even regardless of how good that delivery was from Tomiyasu, I mean, it was perfect, wasn't it? It was literally on the play. But he ran. If you notice, his off the ball movement just before Tomiyasu delivered that, he just was aware of where to run, what space to, and he was looking. And it wasn't as if it was a fluke. He was looking for it, and then when it came, he delivered it. It was beautifully executed, I felt, and I've said that this is what this guy is about. He's got an intelligence about him as well. He's not just an out and out, let me bang the ball in the net. He's got an intelligence, and you're right, James. You know, I think the guys were talking about that player which we lack, that one player that can make a difference. I think he could be the answer. I mean, Michael, you quite rightly mentioned Pepe, and I think you mentioned Martinelli as well. So, you know, he's
you're saying about intelligence. You're saying about intelligence. That for me, I'm not a religious man, but that's just God-given skill. I don't think you learn. I don't think you learn. Yeah, I don't think you learn that. Yes. I think you've got that, or you haven't got that. Yes, that's true. Yeah, that is absolutely true. It's like some of these, you know, amazing creative people, artists of our time, and you're not like yourself. You're doing your digital drawings at the moment. I'm using a guide, James. Don't tell anyone. I'm using a guide. But yeah, so it's Photoshop up to dot, isn't it? You've got it off my. It is. It literally is. But it takes my mind off an Arsenal being poor. No, I know you are. No. I just thought it was. And do you know what? The other thing is, it wasn't just about the goal. He made an impact as soon. I mean, the goal was only after 98 seconds, but he made an impact as soon as he came on. And I think there was a couple of other chances. And you know, if he weren't, you know, poleaxed by that player, who knows? That could have led to something as well. So I think it really bodes well going forward, especially now. It's good that we've got Martinelli. Doing what he did in that cameo performance and proving his worth, I guess, at a time where we've got many games, as we've mentioned earlier in the pod, and with potentially we're losing players to the African Nations Cup. So I think it's great. It's great for the squad as a whole. That, you know, before in the past we might have had a key player, we lose a key player to suspension or injury or something, and then we're like, oh my God, where's that run going to go? Where's that? How are we going to continue that momentum that we've established? And it has bit us in the rear so many times before, but I think we now have the players to come in and you know, keep that momentum and keep that drive going. So I think it'll be interesting to see how Arteta, you know, makes what kind of decisions he makes over the next few games, which kind of nicely leads us on to Thursday. So obviously we've got Old Trafford. They've now appointed their new manager, so that'll be interesting. Typical. It always seems to happen to us. We're about to play a team who's not been doing so well, and there's something that happens, and it's always, it seems to be, I don't know why, I don't know, it's the movement of the clouds or something, but it just seems to be us that like gets the first kind of dibs at that. So I just want to, yeah, exactly, yeah. Everton will get turned over by Liverpool. Yeah. They'll bin Rafa, and then it will be like Duncan Ferguson in charge, and going 2-footed and running up and down the touchline. Yeah, it's going to happen again. There you are. You see, there you are. There you go. So, guys, what do you feel? I'll quickly, both of you, just very quickly. Do you think there are going to be any changes? How do you see that game going? How do we best prepare for it? Michael, go for it. You go first. I can't see any changes even. The only one possibly would be Odegaard for Lacazette, but I think he'll go exactly the same again. I think possibly. Would like to see Aubameyang give a rocket up his arse and maybe get dropped, but that's not going to happen. But yeah, I can see maybe possibly Lacazette coming in. But if he wants the extra body in midfield, especially if United might play the free against in midfield again, possibly like they did against Chelsea, I'll set him up. Want to match them up. But the only worry is that
Arteta overthinks it. You know, he does in big games. He tends to do that, especially with Rangnick in, well, whether he's in or not. But the fact that he's there and the world's watching, he might overthink it again. And, you know, he could play Smith for a false nine again or something stupid like that, just to say, oh, look at me, look what I can do. But no, hopefully he just play the same team that played against Newcastle and see what happens there.
Cool. And you got a prediction?
I totally got wrong my 4-1 last week, so I'll go 1-1. I'll go 1-1, and okay. I think Saka will score first goal.
You think he's going to play? We didn't mention that. So he picked up an injury.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, he might. Yeah, he got injured a couple of games ago. I can't remember what game it was, and I thought that's it. He's done. And he played the next game. I think
Palace when MacArthur booted him in the air.
Yeah, it's a jollof rice, man. He's a strong boy. You know, he eats all that. You know, and he's a strong boy. But if he's fit, then I think he'll play. But if not, you know, Martinelli will probably take his place, and he'll get the first goal.
So if it depends, if Saka plays, he scores against our goal. If it's Martinelli, he'll score our goal. That's what you're going with.
Yeah,
okay, great. James, what do you think?
Yeah, sorry, that's another one I forgot to mention in our foul things. MacArthur volleying Saka in the air. That was in there as well. I forgot to add that one. See, there's been so many I forget.
Exactly.
But no, for me, I agree 100% with Michael. I don't think anything's going to change. Odegaard's copped a lot of flack, but I was watching Ryan's pod earlier, and he had Gary in the comments. You know, good old Gary from the US, and he said that people forget that the two games that we've had the most shots and chances have been when Odegaard's playing. And I'm like, I'm like, oh, Gary, yeah, I've totally didn't even recognise it. Yeah. I mean, Sunday, half of that was Tavares's, you know, ones that landed in my garden, but they all still count.
We had 23 shots apparently.
Yeah, about 16 of them hit my head. Yeah, but no. I'm not going to slate him. No, he was brilliant. He was brilliant, Tavares. You know, just everything but the shooting. Although he scored a good goal in pre-season with his weak foot, so he's got it in the locker. So yeah, no, I mean, even for me, I'd still keep Tavares in over Tierney. I know a lot of people wanted Tierney in for Liverpool for the experience, but I'm like, no, you can't. After he's got an assist and played as well as he did that second half, you can't drop him. I can't justify dropping him. So sorry, Kieran, but you're going to have to.
What's your thoughts on that? Just for Kieran, I know we want to kind of wrap this up, but just thinking of Kieran and just thinking that he's now back, he's on the bench.
Yeah.
Do you think he's professional enough to think, look, he's playing well, let's keep it as it is? Do you think that's going to affect him mentally at all? What do you think?
No, I think he relishes it. I think he's like, I've got to raise my level. That's the game. I mean, okay, Scotland have changed to accommodate it, but before he had it with Robertson. And he, you know, and I mean, there's another boy that's at Celtic that's playing left back that's quite good now as well. I can't remember his name. So there's another one in the, you know, Scotland just seem to pre-produce it. They can't produce anything else apart from shortbread and left backs. And whiskey. My father's Scottish. I'm allowed. I can throw the insults out there. And the Proclaimers aren't bad either.
We can walk. Yeah, that song. Never forget it.
But so. No, I think he really, and he'll get time to come back. I mean, a lot of people are saying that you can move Tavares, you can move him forward if you want to. You could play him as a left winger.
Yes, you guys were talking about it.
He's good enough to do that, so that's an option. But no, I agree as well. See, I know we're talking about a new Arsenal quite a bit, but I like to bring it back down to earth. I see myself more as a realist than an optimist, sadly. And I think this Arsenal team still play the occasion other than they play the team, sadly. Okay. They should be playing those 11 players that are on that pitch. But I think with this new manager bounce, the energy that's going to be in there, and also I still don't care what people say. This is the ultimate game in the Premier League. This is the game. Arsenal, Man United. I don't care where these clubs... We could be in the relegation zones, both of us. This is still the premium because of the history of it. You know, it's like Ben Eubank. If they were to fight now, you'd still watch because it's premium. It's box office. So, you know... And for me, I as well think it's going to be 1-1. I can't see us losing, but
Okay.
I don't think that we'll. Sadly, I don't think that we'll win. We should do. We should be trouncing these, but yeah, sadly, I don't see it. And for me, I think it's going to be not a forward that scores. I was thinking potentially could be Gabriel, someone like that from a set piece, possibly. But
okay, well, that's fair play.
Yeah, we'll see.
I mean, I'm going with you guys. I mean, I think normally I'm very positive, but I can't say the same result again. So I will change it and be my normal optimistic self. But I think a draw, I think, would be a good point for us. You know, we got the lesson against Liverpool at Anfield, and you know, there's a danger of that happening again because of, as you said, the occasion and the fact that they've got the new manager. You know, I'm sure Ronaldo's going to be up for it. You know, you got all of those kind of variables, and I just think that it's going to be so difficult. But I'll go a bit more optimistic, only because you both have done the 1-1s. I'm going to go with 1-0, that we will win 1-0. Like we did in that season that we were so far behind and ended up winning it with Meninga, the greatest goalkeeper at that time. So you know, Martinelli could be the Overmars of that game. Who knows?
I'd love to see.
So
it.
I'm going to go. Yeah, I'd love to see it. So I'm going to go 1-0, and I'm going to say Martinelli. I hope he gets another chance, and if he scores again, well, that's going to set us nicely for the next few games. So that's what I'm going with.
But that's what we want, Neil. That's what we want. You know, for me, people come for me when I said it was a free hit against Liverpool. I didn't mean that as in, you know, I'm accepting a loss. I want to win it. I want to win it all, Neil. I want to do the, you know.
Of course you do.
If we're in a raffle, I want Arsenal. You know, if Arsenal are in the opening of an envelope, I want to win that. You know, but like I said, I'm realistic, and I thought all the hard work that we did in the previous games. If we lost to Liverpool, it wasn't the end of the world because of how the other games went in our favour that day as well. So, and I mean, for me, this one, if we get a draw out of this, not the end of the world for me. I'll be quite because Everton, Southampton, West Ham, I'm expecting 9 points out of that. And again, like Michael said earlier, we could be facing two other new managers there because Everton. I think Hassenhutl's on, you know, thin ice. He's probably
it's true.
So it's all going to be fun and games, but you know, it's Christmas. You know, we like fun and games at Christmas.
I think if we can just get through this month unbeaten, I mean, there are going to be some draws in that. I think that we're doing well. We got Wolves as well, haven't we?
Yep.
We've got Sunderland in the cup, which I think we'll win.
Yep.
So there will be some wins. But yeah, I'd take a point all day long on Thursday. But as long as we don't lose. Yeah. I don't want to go back to that stage where we're winning, then losing, winning, losing, then winning. We have to keep a run going, and that can only bode well going forward. But yeah, Neil,
what's your word you always ask? What's your word you always say on the podcast that you want, other than I want Martinelli? What do you always say? The second one.
The second one
begins with C and ends in insistency.
Oh, consistency.
There Absolutely. You go. There you are.
Very good. Very good. And on that note, we will end the pod. We're going to try and keep these consistent. So there's a good chance old Jack will be back. I shouldn't say old, should I? It's probably he's still young, bless him. He'll be back most likely, I'm guessing, for the pod against our friends at Old Trafford, and see how that goes.
If we win, he's 100% back.
Oh yeah, 100%, absolutely. But I just want to thank these two wonderful people that I know, and you know, honoured to know, James and Michael. Thank you so much for coming on. You can find us on the usual platforms. YouTube, please, just if you don't want to watch us, just if you can give us a little like and a subscribe, it'll really help us. And at the other platforms, James, you can spout them, but Spotify, Apple, as any other I mentioned, mate, the good ones anyway, you can find us on. So please do check us out and help us try and bring you more of this content. But it's always an honour and a pleasure. And until next time, all I can say is, come on, you Arsenal.
Come on, you Reds.